As a profession, I am a stewardess at Sailing Cassandraville. Yes. As a profession, I'm a stewardess at Sailing Cassandraville. And besides that, I am a model. I also work with Okoa Youth Organization to eradicate plastics in Malindi, and we are hoping to continue all over the county when we have the continued support. Yes, besides this, I have passion for fashion and design, and I am also a continuing student with my studies. Currently, I'm working with the Red Card campaign fashion that will be happening tomorrow at 7 Islands Resort, and you're all welcome to support us. And gender-based violence against women all over the world. Thanks to Kilifi County government and the Red Card campaign fashion. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Julian. So we'll go straight to Dr. Sharon, who will give us a breakdown of what the Red Card campaign does and maybe a history of where it has been and a bit more details. Then she'll be followed by Dr. Angela, and then finally Jibril.
I'm sorry, I will introduce Dr. Sharon Okubo, our Goodwill Ambassador from New York. She's joining us today in Watamu to speak to us about the Red Card campaign, for us to understand why we have this in Kilifi, why it's being launched here. And we appreciate your support very much. Sharon is a fashion model based in New York. She has been working as a model, and she finally got this opportunity as a Red Card campaigner, which is being launched currently in Kilifi County at 7 Islands, Watamu tomorrow. And welcome, Sharon. Welcome, Dr. Diallo. Thank you.
Thank you for having us here. Thank you, Rotary, and thank you, Maui Zuri. So the Red Card campaign was launched in 2019 by ARDN in partnership with the United Nations and FIFA. It aims to bridge the gap between women and men in line with the United Nations Sustainable Goals by 2030. The event tomorrow focuses on 3 components: increase awareness, the private sector support, and empower survivors. Why? Because Kilifi County has faced the challenges of gender-based violence and teen pregnancies for years, causing children to drop out of school. But under the visionary leadership of the governor of Kilifi, Gideon Mungaro, substantial progress has been made. The relentless efforts have significantly reduced the rates with gender-based violence standing at 13% today, down from 30% in 2019. So to ensure continued success, the Department of Gender, Culture and Social Services and Sports has initiated comprehensive campaigns against gender-based violence and other forms of violence. Their goal is to create safe and sustainable communities where every individual can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Angela?
Hi, thank you very much for welcoming us to be here. So my name is Dr. Angela Merrick. I am not from here. I'm from Pennsylvania, USA. And I met Dr. Sharon in the past, probably a year ago, and was really inspired about wanting to make an impact to live in a world where women can feel safe, where girls can feel safe, where they can be anything they want to be. I have been a supporter as a life coach of women leaders. And I see when women are supported, when women feel safe, communities are healthier. They become more abundant. And we start to dream bigger and have better creation. And so as a supporter of the Red Card campaign and being in the private sector, I believe one of the ways that we can get involved is one, share stories. Just like tomorrow, we're going to see women that have gone through some of these atrocities and they are thrivers, not just surviving. And they're showing how it's possible. And as as I think we all like a good overcoming story, we realize that no matter what's happening in our life, it becomes possible. That we can create something better than we can ever have imagined, and our world becomes filled with compassion and grace and healing. So I want to encourage any of you that are learning about Red Card Campaign, how you can get involved, listen, lean in, connect. And I believe the more that we can gather people together with a common purpose to support the girl child and beyond, again, our world becomes a better place, becomes a place where bigger dreams happen. I also have a dream. I have also started a school in Kakamega with my female colleague who is from Kenya. And we're supporting women, and we're seeing women, when they are supported, are transforming communities. And I believe when we come to the table as co-equals, the better world. Yeah, for sure. Please. In what way? And it is.
When they are growing.
Yeah.
What is the very, very specific way? What is the most important experience with it?
With the school or with yeah.
Of the girl.
I think it's important for each one to be seen as I look at each woman or each young girl as she has infinite potential, and to listen to her and to believe in her past her circumstance. So whatever circumstance is going on, knowing that she is being created for something greater. I hope that answers your question. Thank you for that. Yeah. Sante, thank you so much. And thank you for welcoming me here.
You're most welcome, Dr. Angela. We will give Diallo.
Thank you very much. My country of origin is Senegal, and I live in New York in the United States. And in answer to your question, I think that was a very good question. I first wanted to thank Rotary for hosting this, because Sharon Okubo, our Goodwill Ambassador, told us about your efforts to have this as the first item of your agenda. That's a lot in terms of your busy agenda. I myself, working for the United Nations in New York, I have been a Goodwill Ambassador of Rotary. I was appointed by Rotary headquarters in Chicago as a Goodwill Ambassador for many years. So I know about your work, and I wanted to, on behalf of Sharon, our Goodwill Ambassador here, thank you for that opportunity. Secondly, the Red Card campaign is way up your alley, in the sense that it's when I saw the objectives that we had there, to try and bring attention to all concerned. Today, there are 194 countries in today's world, and no country treats its women as well as it does its men. So through the Red Card, we wanted to use the convening power of sports and culture in order to bridge the gap between women and men. Because when the Kenyan runners win the New York Marathon, no matter what ethnic group you belong to in Kenya, no matter what your economic status, you always support that Kenyan runner, no matter what ethnic group that Kenyan runner belongs to. So we want to use that together with the convening power of culture. When I listen to Kenyan songs coming from Senegal, I may not understand the words in the local language, but the song itself touches me in the deepest sense of myself. So why don't we use sport and culture in order to bridge the gap between women and men? But then the Red Card campaign is not about just flashing the red card, showing the red card, and then changing the situation of young girls and women in terms of discrimination and violence. That is why I really welcome here the opportunity that our Global Goodwill Ambassador, Sharon Okubo, is giving us. Because being brought up in the United States, she decided to use Kenya as one of the pilot countries to push the Red Card campaign. And in this connection, I think that we will take the example of what you're doing as Rotary here to other parts of Africa and to the United Nations headquarters in New York in order to use this as an island of hope. So I wanted to thank you again for this opportunity and thank Sharon for making this happen for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diallo. As I ask the following questions, maybe even the people on the in Maui can also get their own questions, but I am just a bit curious. You know, as Rotary, we really love to get into the community and work with the community. So as we join the Red Card campaign, what ideas can you give us as we get to talking to the women and the girls in the community to join in and to act so that they have the impact that the Red Card campaign wants to have? Any one of our speakers can take that.
There are many ways you can get involved with the campaign and increasing awareness. One is just within different your own networks, maybe having seminars such as what we're doing right now as one way. Another way is to talk with your leaders, policy implementers, to put in policies and frameworks to stop such behaviors. Dr. Diallo, do you want to add anything else to that?
What we're looking for is the power of Rotary in order to help to change the situation of girls and women in terms of discrimination and violence, so that you have more the answer than we do, because there is a problem that has been identified by the United Nations. And in Kenya, we're working closely with the United Nations. So that then what would be interesting is in 6 months from now, what action would have been taken in terms of us benefiting from your experience in order to deal with the issues of discrimination and violence against women and girls, so that we move forward by having specific activities. For instance, when you have sports activities like football, like basketball, and so on, there could be very short, sharp messages that are given at peak viewing time at that time. And also some of the artists that you're dealing with, for them to focus on some of these issues. And between us, yourselves, our Goodwill Ambassador, Angela here, and ourselves, we can provide the content for that. But the power of moving it forward is in your hands because you're plugged into the communities themselves. No?
Yes, Claudia. The speakers can just keep
But
it.
for me, the most important question is how to do it. Because you have a great program, but the people this program is talking to or going to reach are just people who never deal with big politics. And as a teacher, I learned that it is sometimes easy and sometimes difficult to combine it. So, for example, my wish would be, and I've learned it during my lessons, to simplify big programs. And in the simple words, the big program can be understood. For example, I would love to, because it speaks to people. It is a very simple language of saying, stop it, this red card. Just stop it. I use it in my lesson. On my table, I have a green, a yellow, and a red card. I show yellow cards to this corner, and they see, oh, she's coming, and then a red card, and you are going out of the classroom. I do have them. Yeah, so I work with it. And when I come to one guy or a girl, the day's over. You know, and mom is on the phone in 5 minutes time, you know, so it speaks to everyone. Because when I saw it without my glasses on the phone, I didn't know what it is, but I saw a red card, so it was to stop something, you know. And my wish would be, as a teacher, that This red card could reach every single child in a school, for example, given to teachers who have just, and that's what moves me in my lesson, because people don't know what is it. What does it mean, stop violence? I would say, don't beat ladies. Don't, what is it? In very simple languages. And then for me, this red card would work at schools without your presence. It would be my suggestion, maybe. Yeah? Yeah, okay.
I think you raised a very important point. Two things. One, in football, when you raise a red card to a player, what happens? That player is kicked out. So the objective is to kick out of the face of this planet any forms of discrimination and violence against women and girls. But at the same time, this is a coordinating initiative. You're a teacher, so the body in the United Nations which deals with teachers and education is UNESCO. So UNESCO is a member of the Red Card campaign. So environment, when we're talking about climate change, the UN Environment Program is part of it. When we are talking lack of habitat and UN Habitat, so that we come in not to have a brand new initiative that is another initiative, much more to help those who are working so that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing when it comes to fighting discrimination against girls and women. So you have the engagement of the United Nations, you have the engagement of civil society organizations, and for the first time, you have the engagement of FIFA itself. So that we don't want this to be like another separate, brand new initiative, but much more to help those who are working in this field to make sure that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing.
Maybe Diallo, a more direct question will be.
Can I take a shot at this? So another way you can make a difference, or to even go beyond the classroom, I think a lot of this, these behaviors start in the home. So when you talk to the kids, maybe community outreach as well, where we talk to families. I'm not here full time, but you guys are. I don't mind coming and joining to give a helping hand. But I think it's so important to go out to these communities and talk to the family members. Teach the kids as well, but reinforce it at home. That's one simple way you can start, and then we can actually measure success from that, and then go to the next level. I hope that helps.
Diallo maybe and Dr. Sharon, a question will be, could we come up with our simplified versions or cards that have our own language that speak to the same message? Or do we have to use the ones that you're providing?
I think it's okay to use your own language as long as we're not using logos from the Red Card campaign. That should not be a problem. You can use words that resonate with the community, and that should be fine.
All right. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
Because at the end of the day, we want to use this as an opportunity, not only to have Rotary at this end, but also when we're going to have a national launch of the Red Card campaign from Nairobi. So that this is a great opportunity to have Rotary help mobilize civil society organizations and others, but also help mobilize the private sector in this connection. And your ideas will be the ones that we will be interested in. For instance, the ideas that you mentioned and so on, because we're in a learning curve. We know what the problem is, but we don't have all the answers. You're closer to where the reality is, and we need to pick up your ideas and then turn them into a one-pager that can then be shared with everybody on how to.
Right. Another quick one. We have organizations that have safe houses where the people affected by gender-based violence go to probably when these things happen. is the Red Card campaign all about awareness, or is it also about the action of partnering with these safe houses and getting them in a place where they can host the people affected by gender-based violence? That mic should stay near the speakers.
Well, everything starts with raising awareness. I spent 10 years of my life working at UNICEF. And we started by having immunization campaigns at UNICEF in order to raise immunization levels across Africa from 30% to 70% across Africa. Because immunization, you can go in 6 months and show the number of kids that have been immunized. So that is something which is doable. Hence the idea of having a red card in order to do something doable. But then when it comes to children, when it comes to dealing with malnutrition of children, that's a much more complex problem, so that it's intractable and people get discouraged. So first of all, we needed to do something that can mobilize the attention of everybody. When you say in football, if you give a red card that throws a player off the field, then that is something that catches the imagination of everybody. Then we go to Parliament when everybody's attention is caught to make sure that the legal system in every country is changed in such a way that it deals with the challenges of discrimination and gender. Women get 30% very often of the salaries of what men get and doing the same kind of jobs. So that all of that happens. And when we are growing up, when young boys come home, they throw their bags on the side, they go and play football or soccer, and then young girls are retained behind in order to help their mothers to do the cooking and everything. So as our Goodwill Ambassador mentioned, it all starts at home. But what we do is, because we have a powerful voice, we are in 80 countries, we have the United Nations, which is present in 194 countries. We've shined the light on it. Once we shine the light on it, on the how-to that you mentioned, then we sit down together to work it out. That's why we welcome this opportunity to have you really use your individual experiences, because Rotary is a very powerful organization in order for us together to learn from you what is the how-to. But at least we shine the light. We meet with the president of the country. I met last January with President Ruto. He received me in Senegal, and I talked to him about the Red Card campaign, so that that way, at the highest level, you have the president, but at the same time, as you're mentioning, you go to the villages as well, to the community. So you don't just limit yourself, to the highest level, but you go to the communities, and you do it also not in the English language that you're speaking, but in the local languages, so that people can understand it as well.
All right, so quick fire questions, not to the speakers, but to the people who have listened today. So I'd like the mic to go all the way to Fauzia, and each person will say what they have learned and what they think they can do to help. All across. I want to know who was listening and who was not.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Rotarian Fauzia, and what I've learned today is we can teach our kids the violence against women starts from the roots. In our villages, at home, we can teach our kids, and also equalize the equalization in the family.
Yeah, thank you, Fauzia.
Hi.
Hi, Doreen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Doreen, Madam from Krepe Primary School. I'm delighted to be here this evening, though I'm a late comer, but at least I've got that the Red Card campaigns against women and girls discrimination in the society, which begins right from the home, whereby we find that the girls are left to help in the kitchen, whereas the boys are enjoying themselves outside playing after school. We are seeing it also, we can fight against it right from the schools, right from our families, with the children also being educated on it. Also the parents need to be educated on how to avoid discrimination against women and girls. And this goes up also to the authorities and also in internationally and worldwide to fight against women and girls discrimination. Thank you. Have enjoyed the talk.
Madam Doreen, before you you move the mic, you're the deputy at Kirepwe. Do you think this we can come up with creative ideas? And maybe Catherine, when the mic gets to you, do you think we can get creative ideas to implement part of this red card campaign at the school? Because we've been experiencing such issues of gender-based violence and issues with the girls and issues with pregnancy and stuff like that. Can we come up with something at Kirepwe?
Yeah, it can. You can come up with something which can be very helpful to the children and also in the neighborhood. It can also be very much helpful, since we have the girls being discriminated so much, especially in the household jobs. And also we are having also women doing so much in their families, and sometimes we find that they are also facing violence from within their families, and it can be of very much help to the community and also to the children in the school.
Awesome, thank you. Peter?
Okay, to me also there is something that I've learned from the Red Card campaign. What I've learned is the equalization, treating the girls equally to the boys. That's what I've learned. And also what I can say is in most of the communities, they just do love, maybe say the boys, they love boys rather than girls. For an example, if it is to educate, most of the people, they educate boys because they say that girls will be married, so boys are the ones who will build the house. But in this Red Card campaign, there is something that I've learned, and this will be helpful in the society. If they will be taught on how to handle the girls the same as they handle the boys, then this will be helpful to the girls also. I think equalization is something good, because most of the girls are just at home, they are sitting, they don't get education, because what they're believing is they believe that boys are the ones who will build the home, but for the girls, they will get married somewhere else. So we have to teach the society and educate them about to handle girls equal as they handle boys too. That's what I've learned. Thank you.
Awesome, Peter. And maybe to add to what you have said, we need to teach the girls to build the house as well. That's on a lighter note. Shedi?
All right, thank you. My name is Shadrach. Allow me to ask a question instead. It's a good idea, and I allowed it. It's time for it actually, and I appreciate the county level launch and probably the national level launch in the future. But for a local NGO, for a grassroots organization, for a club like Rotary, you know how the structure of Rotary is, they are local everywhere. So where do we approach you from? Is there an office somewhere that we can exchange ideas when you want to do something in a community? Is there a website that we reach to you and maybe go together to do an activity in the community or something like that? So when it gets to you, you can just answer. Thank you.
Who wants? I was supposed not to answer.
No,
Yeah.
no, you
Okay.
just continue.
I thought I just sit quietly. That's very nice. Well, it's a we have a very interesting and very important topic in the whole world. But what moves me, my encounter with Kenya is in Catherine's school with our feeding program, and it touches me because my question is, and my experience, how can you change the thinking and the mind of the basis, for example, mom at home, when many children are hungry and mom doesn't know what to cook, you know? So the problem has deep and wide roots. That's it. And Kenyan ladies are very warm-hearted. And I know a beautiful family where the oldest daughter has the main interest at school. But everyone here in Kenya is struggling with the reality. And that's it. And I'm sure if people in Kenya were given the chance to have the same jobs as we in Germany, they have the jobs, but they don't earn that much. It would be totally different. I know now it's maybe not the topic of today, but it moves me now. But what I learned is, as you said, that it is important to connect the ideas of policy and the basis. Yeah.
Awesome. Albert doesn't want to say something.
Okay. My name is Catherine, and I'm really touched with the red cards. Through my observation of the community, it's true that so many girls get discriminated. You can have a big number of girls who do not even attend school due to the bad situation of the family matters. As I had a research, I found that so many children are not attending schools. Majority of them staying at home, and that is the beginning of not having moral values, which they supposed to have at home and even in school. For example, in order for the child to grow well, according to my sister, what she has said, we as teachers, we face a lot of problems in the community sectors. No jobs from some of the women to take care of children. They always up and downs, looking the best future for their children. That's why sometimes we as teachers, we are sacrificing ourselves to have the small projects of school to make sure that we do up and downs to make the children get the basic education for the future. For the future. I stand here as an example through my experience and through my life. I'm sorry to say so, but I have to say, because I feel it bitter in my life, okay? I was reared well, but get married in a young age. After that, I was just married in a certain village in our Giriama. But due to the culture that someone here has spoken about it, I really suffered a lot. I was married and 17 years due to polygamy family. And after that, after giving my experience, right? After giving birth for 3 children, I came on my senses and I had to leave the children, 3 children, and go back to school I took that chance. I decided many people in the community, because they don't know about education, they just murmured bad things about me. And I had to focus with my education to be an important person and to make someone who is not important to a better in future. I took that chance. I went very hard. I struggled. I completed my 4 level. After that, I had to do small jobs to make sure that I get something to proceed with my education. And after all that, I attempted to get my diploma in education, preschool education. Then I said, after my research, seeing many children loitering around my community, I had to open a small center, learning center, with my own earnings, what I used to get. I struggled. First, I started from the floor, and I was the one who teaching them. Later, some people came to me and back up. I just constructed a few buildings which are not well, were not well. The place was not conducive for learning. They had to sit under a tree. Why am I doing this? Because I wanted the children to be better children in future. I continued like that, struggling for the feasts of the children. After that, I got a small job, and I took a small loan, constructing at least 1 classroom. But then the enrollment continued to increase. After that, learning was proceeding very well, and the enrollment of the children started to increase. Children were very happy. Until now, I have reached in a state that I have grade 6. Why? My heart was for the children. But now, because the population has increased, me alone now, I can't afford. I need someone who can help me. By the side here, I got a very important person who is a parent, came to me and said that I have a friend of mine who will support you with the feeding program. I have a feeding program in school, but still it's not enough. Here, I just faced a lot of challenges. As you said, I did this because the girls to get education as my heart. There at my place, sometimes I feel bad because children come to school, not eating at all. You just see a child crying when you ask, say, I have not taken even a cup of porridge. This one starts at home. As we say that home is a place for the beginning of knowledge of the children through their parents. But still, we as teachers, we have a lot of things to do towards the children and women. We have to teach them moral values so that they can become good children. Teaching moral values, they have to feed well, grow well, so that they can better children in future. So I'm happy for having this red card. It makes me learning a lot about the Rotary. Thank you. I'm really excited and I'm happy to have this first meeting. It makes me learning more things. And I hope after here, we have work to tell others more about what we have been learning here. And I hope we shall change those women and girls to be better people in future, to model their moral values. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I'll allow the mic to go past the guest.
I think that we are having the meeting here. It'd be good to have Davidson to share some of your experience, because listening to you just before we started, I was very interested that you are already passionate about youth engagement. And that's how, through your meetings with our Goodwill Ambassador, we have developed this. Because what we want to come out of this meeting, which is very, very enriching, are three things. One, when I was at UNICEF, when 10,000 African children were dying unnecessarily every 24 hours, UNICEF went to Rotary and said, Rotary, let us sign an agreement in order for you to help with the child survival programs. So that Rotary takes the big credit for really advancing the issue of child survival, child protection, and child development in Africa and around the world. Today, the most important issue determined by the United Nations, which is hampering development in every country, is the issue of gender-based violence and discrimination. So if we can have one point where we have Rotary being involved in really coordinating part of this campaign through the partners that you have on a day-to-day basis, that's one point. And then the second point is really to mobilize the private sector in such a way that this moves forward. And the third dimension is, in today's world, you could see the communication as it is. Everything is instant, so that it's no longer the time when you needed to have necessarily somebody here, but you have our Goodwill Ambassador, who's the repository of contacts, so that when you have a one-pager, our Goodwill Ambassador will get it and then see who in the United Nations headquarters for Kenya in Nairobi could be contacted, whose civil society organization, and so on and so forth. So, but I wanted to make sure that Davidson, you know, I've been very impressed with what I have heard about you, how we can really hear you about your own involvement, because your involvement, engaging the youth, you know, the leaders of today, not the leaders of tomorrow, is very, very important. So with your permission, Mr. Moderator, I'd like us to hear also from Davidson, please.
All right, that's okay. Davidson.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Evening.
My name's Davidson Wakairo. I'll introduce myself again, as I did earlier. I'm the founder of Vijana Mkeni Youth Organization. We're a group of youth that bring together young people, empower them. We work on also mental health and environmental issues. So when I met Sharon in Watamu, I think last year, youth and women always fall under the same category. If you see with governments, they have special sectors just to deal with youth and women. So if you have a youth organization, why not also empower the women? It's a very good cause. And what I've learned today, I really agree with, is ladies, it starts from home. Empowering women from the beginning is important because you're creating women leaders. I'm ready to support anything that has to do with leadership and with women. As they say, what a man can do, a woman can do better. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up when you were talking about the simplicity of the red as a teacher. I'm a mom myself, and I remember when my children would come home with the red dot on their journal to know that they did something that was wrong. And of course, it would instill a conversation, right? It would be that impetus to like, let's talk about this. What's happening? I think it's really important that we're bringing men and women to the conversation. It's not a one-sided conversation. If we're going to make change, we need to really continue to like bring everyone to the conversation and have thoughtful conversations and discussions to make that impact. As a woman myself, and as a woman who was told to get married young, have your children early, I didn't know that it was possible to dream past that. And I live in the United States. You know, we have our gender, you know, as you said, it's every culture, every country. And it was the way I was raised. And to realize that as a woman, to be supported and to recognize that, wow, we are here beyond just must get married early and have children, to have dreams. And I believe that that inspires others. I recently got my private pilot's license. So I'm flying an airplane. You know, I'm almost 50. And not many women my age are doing that. And it's like when we do that and we believe in ourselves and support and realize beyond just whether it's getting married early and having children, that we start inspiring other people. Like, wait, what becomes possible? Right? So that's it. And yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. We get to change it, right? And it doesn't, you know, we can't predict what impact is but when we start it's the butterfly effect. This conversation tonight is I mean, I have goosebumps. It's changing. Please.
It seems as if every lady is waiting for the first to start.
Yeah.
And it comes. Oh, me too.
Absolutely. And I think every one of us in this moment together, we are here for a purpose, right? And we're here for a reason. We're all here tonight, and it starts now.
And our goodwill ambassador, Sharon.
I just want to say, I hope that these discussions don't end here tonight. I hope that we can at least keep in touch or at least have a point of contact so that all our initiatives we can keep propelling them and they don't end here. So with that said, you know, just thank you for having us. And I look forward to the next time we connect and hopefully sooner than later.
Awesome. And all within that, we skipped Julian for her lesson for today. Julie? Julian? You guys are muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Please repeat what you said last thing.
We didn't get Julian's note for today, what she has learned today.
Mine is very short. I understand or I have learned today that change begins from within you. What you accept, your personal development, what you teach your neighbor, what you project to the youth, it starts from you. And yes, change is possible. Anything is possible. We have put the first step forward with the Goodwill Ambassador in the Red Card campaign to launch this project in Kenya. Let's not end it here. Let's continue spearheading forward. Let's work together as Rotarians. One thing I learned about Rotary is that it's service above self. You put others before you. So this is what I've learned tonight. Much more, but when I put it in simpler words, this is it. Thank you.
Awesome. So maybe from online, if you have a question, you can raise your hand. And as you figure out where the raising hand button is, I will just read the two comments that are online. So Jelly says, yes, we can do it. Starting from school, talking about physical abuse to our children. Then we talk to parents as well. And then we have Isaacs, who says changing the mindset is of utmost importance. The red card needs to have a meaning rather than be seen as punitive. Like in football, it should focus on instilling knowledge about violence, seeing the effects of violence and how it affects humanity as a whole. It is never too late to start, and we applaud this initiative and hope that it will be absorbed and have roots in the society so that gender-based violence will be driven out. Women are part of the society and are equipped with skill and intelligence to do great things. That is a comment all the way from Botswana. So I would like to give Diallo the last word for tonight, and then we have our closing protocols. Diallo.
Thank you. Thank you very much again. for this meeting. Just to remind all that we're most grateful to the governor of Kilifi County and to Kilifi County for passionately putting this forward. And tomorrow at 6:30 p.m., there will be something historic because it will be a fashion show where top models would have been those who have suffered from sexual harassment, from gender-based violence, and the Red Card campaign, through the leadership of Sharon Okubo, is helping them to piece their lives together so that you have top professional models, but at the same time, who have suffered in their lives and who are being helped through the Red Card campaign. So that we look forward to connecting with you, those of you who can. Tomorrow is only the beginning of a 12-month period during which we will have other initiatives. We will bring mayors from the United States to have partnership agreements with governors across Kenya. We will bring presidents of universities to have partnership agreements with institutions of higher learning in Kenya, and so on and so forth, so that we are taking very seriously these moments that we've had with you here. And under the leadership of the governor of Kilifi County and the full support of our goodwill ambassador, we will have a 12-month period in which we hope to look to Rotary to really help to move this button forward. Thank you very much again.
All right.
And now in our tradition, we would like to make sure that individually and collectively, we repledge ourselves to doing everything possible to end violence and discrimination by standing up and raising the red card. For those who are in person here, physically here, we will raise the red card to recommit ourselves. And those who are online, you could do it virtually as well. So when the moment comes through the moderator, we would like everybody in this room to stand up, and each one of you has a red card to raise the red card. And then those who are online to make sure that you raise the red card symbolically as well. So with your permission, we would like to have everybody to stand up so that we can give a red card to all forms of discrimination and violence against women and girls. So we can stand up and just do the pledge.
Yes.
We need 3 more cards and we will provide them.
And you raise it like a referee.
Another one down there.
Okay. 1 more. All right. So that this will be taken as a photograph, as a pledge that we have this evening to make sure that we do everything possible individually and collectively to declare the ending of discrimination and violence against women and girls an ideal whose time has come. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you so much, Diallo. After we have closed the meeting, we can have individual photos with the red card, and as well as another group photo with the red card. I will allow Shedi and Fauzia to coordinate that when we have logged off. So as I close, I would like to acknowledge some guests that are online. So we have Teresa Mwangi and Lanji Ouko. We also have Pamela Onyango, who joined us after we had already started. So welcome. If you could please, Lanji, you could introduce yourself. If you're a Rotarian, a guest, which club you're coming from, please.
Good evening, Watamu. I'm not a Rotarian. I'm here in support of Dr. Jibril Diallo and Dr. Sharon Okubo. Just showing my support from Crevin Mullion Co. Thank you.
Awesome. Most welcome. Teresa Mongi.
Hi, good evening.
Evening.
I'm Teresa Mwangi. I'm a friend of the club of Atamu.
Awesome. Most welcome, Tess. And Pamela?
Good evening, fellow Rotarians, friends of Rotary. I am Pamela. I'm Rotarian Pamela Onyango from eClub Safaris. Glad to be here.
All right, thank you very much, Pamela. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this moment to say thank you very much for attending our fellowship for today. We definitely appreciate Dr. Sharon, Dr. Angela, Dr. Jibril. We appreciate Julian and Davidson, all of you from the Red Card campaign. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Dr. Angela said she was feeling goosebumps. I was feeling double those goosebumps, because as Dr. Jibril says, this is an idea whose time has come. We need to take initiative and do something about it. As I was asking Madam Doreen about what we can do in school, I was just picking out what they said, the sports activities that are done every day. How can we include these lessons within? And what also Catherine said, in her school, as she has brought these children up to grade 6, what can we do inside? So as the Red Card team leave to have the event tomorrow, we remain here with so many thoughts, with so many ideas, and with so many challenges that we think we can step in. So thank you so much for our guests. Thank you to all members, and thank you for everybody who joined physically and virtually. So let us all be upstanding so that we can toast to Rotary and then close the meeting. So again, as we did, if you have a glass with you, you can raise a glass. If you don't have a glass, you can put your right hand over your left chest. And then when I say to Rotary the world over, you will raise your glass and say to Rotary the world over. And if you have your hand on your chest, you just raise your hand and put it back up. So I will acknowledge the presence of Rotary eClub Safari and Rotary Satellite eClub Ocean Breezes, and to our friends and guests, to Rotary the world over.
Rotary world over.
So thank you very much. We declare our meeting closed. You can continue fellowshipping. You can take the group photo and the individual photos with the Red Card. Have a lovely day. For those that have logged in, thank you for logging in. Enjoy your night. Let us allow the people in Watamu to have the rest of the night. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.